Hello, welcome to the Masterclass. Akofa sounds so good on radio. I bet she eats fish, right? Hello, my name is Daryl Kwawu in for Yalbana for we are going to be talking about fish. Exactly. Um, we've been talking about agriculture in the last couple of weeks as part of our 13 week series on agribusiness. It's turned out to be a great discussion. People are showing a lot of interest. We had a discussion on snail farming a couple of weeks ago. Your feedback has been great. So we are turning to fish farming, and joining me in studio to do the discussion is Evans Kojo Danso, who is chief executive and of Flosell Farms, also a WorldFish consultant. I'm going to tell you a bit about him. He's an experienced project manager with 10 years of aquaculture experience, also an aquaculture expert and consultant. He's got 10 years. He served 10 years as Chief Executive Officer of Flosell Farms. Yeah, 9 years working experience as project manager of Nestle South Africa. Trainings in aquaculture across Africa focus on improving aquaculture business expert, and the list goes on. I'm happy to have him in studio as we start this new series on fish farming. The masterclass is brought to you by Gwell Good Energy Gwell. So I want to welcome you once again to the masterclass, Evans. Trust your day is going well.
Yes, Daryl, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Why should we eat fish?
Well, it's a very good question. It's good to eat fish because it's very healthy, promotes good health and well-being,
Mm-hmm.
and a very good source of your essential amino acids needed to keep your life going.
All right. And why should I venture into fish farming?
Because if you don't, somebody is going to produce your fish for you anyway. And life has always evolved around fish. Even Jesus did a couple of miracles with fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so it's very essential element of life that we cannot ignore. In ancient time, fishing used to be a good economic vehicle, but fishing is gradually being replaced by aquaculture, and it's the way to go now, because you can't keep having your protein from the wild or from fishing anymore.
All right. Thank you for reminding us of what Jesus did with fish. I wouldn't have thought about that. That's
Yeah.
so clever. All right. And so before we get into fish farming in itself, I just want you to tell us a bit more about yourself, how you got into this fish farming, the aquaculture business. I mean, what's your interest in fish farming?
Well, I started as a biochemist, a young biochemist working with one of the largest food companies in the world called Nestle. So I used to serve as a new product development manager, went into packaging as well. And then one day, when my wife and I were building our house at Pram Pram, we said we were going to build a house that would have literally every solution in the house, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
We could have our own energy, our own source of water, and then maybe our own source of fish. So we made a pond in the house and bought our first set of fingerlings. I remember it was 600 pieces that we bought from the from the Ministry of Fisheries demonstration farm in Ashaiman.
Mm-hmm.
We bought 600 pieces of fingerlings. By the time we got home, within an hour of driving, half of was already
don't
dead.
tell me that.
Half was already dead, and then but
Oh,
we
boy.
we grew the rest, and it was exciting. We sold it, and then we decided to take it to the next level. And so I got a place around Dawenya on the dam where I started cage farming and a hatchery, and then eventually moved to Sogakopo in the Volta region, and where we are going big time now.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable. And so I just wanted you to also tell us about what the industry is like right now when we talk about the aquaculture industry. It's same as fish farming, right?
Yes, there's a big difference between aquaculture and fishing.
Okay.
A lot of people confuse the two. Fishing is like hunting. So just like the way you cannot build an economy on hunting, you can actually build an economy on aquaculture, which is science, which involves a lot of planning, a lot of projections, a lot of business, with a lot of inputs, processing, and outputs, with the consumer in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the industry like generally here in Ghana?
Well, maybe I can show you
Sure.
some slides. Okay. The industry has actually four main steps, the value chain if you want it. So there is the hatchery, there is the feed production, the hatchery or the input materials production, there is the feed, which is also input, there is the grout, and then is the final one, the value addition. So if you want to see how much business is in all of that, if you go to the next slide, you see the first section called input material. So there's a lot of business that has to do with regulation, has to do with biotechnology, feed production, scientific research, profiling the amino acids and proteins that are required to produce the fish. And then and then the next one has to do with the production process itself. Has to do with the production itself, which also involve maybe some extent of fishing, where captured fish is harvested, milled as a fish meal, and used as an ingredient into the production of fish feed that serves the aquaculture value chain. Then there is a component that combines some fish farming in crops called aquaponics. And then after the fish is produced, it is taken off the producers by distributors. Value is added to it, distributed and served to customers. So it's a very big value chain. If you look at the economics of it, the entire value chain of aquaculture globally is about $120 billion industry.
Wow.
It's a very big one. It rubs shoulders with the big boys.
Well, people eat a lot of fish. So.
A lot of people, yes. The reasons being the population is growing very fast. The catch or wild fish is reducing because of climatic changes, because of changes in eating pattern and behaviors of consumers, and also because of technology. And then, so all of that goes into three main things that goes into the fish feed that is used to produce your fish feed. So the process of fish farming technically is just converting fish feed into fish that you will eat, because you cannot get fish farming, you cannot get a fish feed and start eating it just like that. So the fish comes in as a converter, and we take the fish feed that is made from things like soya, maize, fish meal, some fish oil, and added vitamins, made into a pellet that the fish can relate with, pick, digest, and then gain weight. And then we go in to harvest that weight as harvested fish, and then add value to it and put it on your table. So there are many candidates for aquaculture. There's tilapia, there's salmon, there's catfish, there's crayfish, there's shrimp, there's oyster, clams, there's trouts, there's sea cucumbers, there's seaweed. It's a very big industry. That's why the value is that big.
I see a lot of tilapia and catfish here.
In Ghana, the two major candidates is making close to 90% is tilapia and catfish.
But there's shrimp, there's what, oyster?
Yes, there's clams. Clams and oyster is more of wild catch than farm in Ghana. But in other parts of the world, Mexico and in the US, it is farmed very intensively with a lot of technology. But it's missing in this part of the world. So we focus more on catfish and tilapia. Whichever candidate you choose, the processes are quite similar. You will have to breed, you will have to nurse, then you will have to grow, and then you will have to add some value and serve the consumer. So we have the breeding stock that is usually coming from the research institutions, like the Water Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. They have the mandate to work on the genetics and then the breeding of these fish. So farmers will collect these breeding stocks from them and will multiply them or grow them to sizes that they can breed to a male and a female and then you separate, and then you cross a different male with a different female, just like the way you cannot marry your own sibling. You have to take a female from another house, a male from another house, bring them together, and then we collect the eggs from them. Okay, in the case of tilapia, they will hold the eggs in their mouth. You will have to intervene and collect the eggs from them, and then put them in an incubator, hatch them into fries. Then you nurse them to be fingerlings, and then they become sizable enough for you to grow in your production units. So there are different production units that you can use. In the case of catfish, it does not like to breed in captivity. So if you go and catch catfish and you put it in your breeding pond right now, it will not just breed. You will have to induce it. So that we do traditionally by using the pituitary gland of the male, okay, and injecting into the female's back. And then depending on the temperature, after 8 hours, you can get the eggs ready. And then you get the male fish. You strip the milt, or what we call the semen, off, mix it and spread it in your water, create the conditions, and then it will grow. Other times we replace the pituitary gland with what we call ovaprene, which is in the market now. So in a way, you save using the brain of the male catfish, but again, you have to use its testicles to get the juice. And then there are various ways to grow the fish, or what we call the fattening. You can fatten in earthen ponds, in concrete tanks, in tanks at the back of your house, in rivers, in lakes, on the ocean, in blackish water, in sweet water, what have you, using various techniques. And there has been a lot of evolution in aquaculture development, particularly in the West. We lag behind a lot in Ghana when it comes to the development of research, or research into growing systems, but out there in Asia and particularly in the US, there is a lot of development in growing systems for fish. Then you come to the main business of the growing.
Yeah, can I do it in my home? Because we had a conversation about snail farming last week, and you could do it just with a small space in your backyard. Does that apply to fish farming as well? I mean, what sort of space you need to be able to operate a fish farm?
So fish farming is a business of water. So it's a function of the water quality. It's a function of the quality of your feed. It's a function of the health of your animal. Once you have those three things, you can grow the fish anywhere. So if you choose to farm it at the back of your house, make sure you meet the requirements of those fish. Make sure the water is of the quality that the fish wants, not what you want. Make sure the feed is the quality that...
How do you determine the quality of water?
There are certain parameters that are required for the fish, and we know that scientifically, like the pH has to be between 6.5 and less than 9, even though they can tolerate up to 10 or 10.5. The oxygen, they will prefer oxygen level up to about 5 and above. They grow best. Between 5 and 3, they will grow, but they will not be at the best conditions. They will not reach their maximum potential for you. So if you are not going to grow them under the best conditions, you know the cost issues. And then below 3 is a challenging time for them. It's like being in this room and having very low quality air. They cannot do well there. And then the feed has to be very good, So there are minimum requirements in the diet of these animals that must be met by whoever is deciding to take these animals from their natural zone and keeping them in your home. They are not designed for your home. But if you want to do it in your home, meet those conditions and you can grow your fish.
All right. Okay. And how much do you need to start a fish farm?
It depends on all the factors I mentioned before. You have to manage the quality of the water, manage the feed, and the fish itself. So it depends on the scale that you want, and then you choose which kind of budget to go with. You can have low budget solutions, but you see, you must always remember that whatever cost you have in mind to start your fish farm, the fish doesn't have a copy of your budget.
Or what's the minimum? I mean, for people wondering.
The minimum will be what the fish wants.
Okay.
People always want to put numbers to these things because they want to farm the fish their way instead of farming the fish the way of the fish.
Well, because I'm asking because somebody has some money.
I'll give you a number at the end of the day. So, but I want people to understand that when you want to grow fish, it is one of the few times that the fish will become your boss. So if the fish says it needs 2 grams of feed, you find the money and you get that. You don't say, okay, I don't have money for 2 grams, I have money for this.
But I don't know if this answer is helpful for our listeners, because people have monies they want to invest in something. Okay,
let me jump and answer the question the way you want it.
Yes.
That's a typical non-fish farmer way of asking questions. Let me answer it that way for you.
Money is hard to come by these days, and you want to be sure you're investing in something.
Yes, that's why we don't like to encourage people to get into it if they don't have the understanding that it is the requirement of the fish that matters, not how much you want to put in it. But if you must do it, for every 1,000 kilos of fish that you're going to produce, you're going to need about 1,600 kilos of feed on the average. And that's going to come to between 16 and 20,000 cedis.
Okay.
For every kilo of fish that you produce. That means that it's going to take between 16 cedis to 20 cedis to grow 1 kilo of
1 kilo
of fish.
Okay. So you do your math.
You do your math. So if you want to grow 2 fish,
you work it out yourself. Yeah.
Yes, if you want to grow 2 fish, if you want to grow 1,000 fish, if you want to grow 10,000 fish, you can do the math from there.
Okay.
Bearing in mind the requirements of the fish, not what you think you can do.
Okay. So let's go ahead.
Yes, so goes back to the main production process itself, where you will have to be mindful about the feed, where the quality of the feed matters in as much as the quantity also matters. So it's a matter of quality of the feed, quantity of the feed, and rationing the portion as desired by the fish. Because the same fish feed that we are putting in to grow the fish also has the same capability to kill the fish. Just like your child will need food to grow, but the food that you give your child helps the child to grow. The same food has the capability to kill the child if it is wrongly applied.
Could you elaborate further? I mean, how's that?
The feed is usually an organic compound made up of maize, soya, fish meal, fish oil, vitamins. And the water in which you are growing the fish is almost in a fixed volume. So there's a certain balance that must be maintained in the water between the nutrients to have the biological processes going, because the fish itself is a biological animal. And once you put the feed in and it goes beyond a certain level, it begins to stress the balance of the system. So once the system distorts, the fish will not have the best environment that it needs to grow to reach the potential that it's capable of. So what happens is that first you begin to lose growth potential, and then there's opportunity for fish diseases to come in, and then there's a big chance of you losing your money.
Okay. I get it now.
You get it now. I'm glad. So now I can baptize you into fish farming.
So, I mean, pretty much production has to do with feed, right? That's
feed. So the fish is basically converting. So you must manage the feed at the right rate. And then the stocking density. We have a fixed room here. I believe this is about 8 meters by 4 meters. So, remember during COVID, every room was having carrying capacity, like how many people are allowed in the room.
I remember.
The same way in a fish culture system, there is a capacity. There's a limit to how many animals can be in there based on certain conditions. So you must manage the density very well and ensure that you don't have too much fish and you don't have too less fish also in there. And then you must manage the container. Structurally, it must be functioning well. It must be easy to clean regularly. It must make room for easy water flow and must have a good integrity. Then the water and its environment. We must also make sure that there's always enough water. When the fish says, okay, my water is not looking good, I need water change, you will not say, sorry fish, Ghana water is not supplying water today, so wait till tomorrow. You may not find your fish alive. So the water quality management matters, and the reserve. So you can improve the water quality through techniques like aeration, controlling the lighting, recirculation, and seasonal adjustments. And then lastly, the health of the fish. just like every other animal like we are, there's always health implications if you have to keep animals in large numbers. If you have to keep like 50 people in this room right now, we have to make a health plan. If you go to Ridge Hospital right now, and if let's say it's 1,000 bed and we decide to put like 2,000 people there, there has to be a proper plan to manage the health. So fish also fall sick, basically.
Okay.
They also fall sick. They also get to the hospital. They get quarantined. They get treated.
Oh, wait. They get to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
We have fish vets.
Okay.
We have fish vets. You get to the hospital. Some can make it.
It's not simple.
Yes, it's not simple. It's not simple at all. And some can make it back from the hospital. Some will not also make it.
What they get sick of?
They can get sick of fish diseases.
Okay.
Just like we also get sick of diseases, bacterial diseases, fungal diseases, viral diseases. They all have this. They have the same stuff messing with them.
Think about that. Okay.
Oh yeah, they have the same stuff. In Ghana, there was a big disease in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. Before COVID, there was what we call, I think 2019 was the first one, called a streptococcus.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yes, that one killed a lot of fish.
Oh, I do remember now.
Killed about 40 to 50% on the average from most farms, sometimes 60. And when that was gone, that was a bacterial disease that was temperature dependent. So when the temperature of the growing medium or the water or in the cage or in the pond will go above 31, because the fish likes 28, 29 degrees. So when the water goes above 31, then there's problem. It's party time for this bacteria. Then they will eat up your fish so bad. So then you get to lose a lot. And then after 2019, in 2020 to 2021, we also had another virus called ISKMV. It's a necrosis of the liver and the spleen. It's a condition where the fish loses its ability to excrete waste.
Okay.
So the stomach will get very bulky because it's accumulating waste. And then they will die. In that case, it was cleaning close to 90% of the stock that was farmed in this country. So a lot of the farms were very much hit.
Yeah.
So if you are growing your fish, if you have the passion to grow fish, understand that 3 things. It's important to manage the fish in summary. Manage the pathogens that are there because they will always be there, and then manage the water, which is your environment.
Right. I mean, especially the aspect about health management is not something you think about when you are venturing into fish farming. And so, like conducting regular health checks, vaccinations, biosecurity measures, stress reduction, disease monitoring, prompt treatment, fish vets. I didn't know about that. Yeah, so you have to take all of that into consideration, so that you have quality fish. That's pretty interesting. Yes. You're listening to the Masterclass on Joy 99.7 FM. We've started a series on fish farming. I hope you've had some good education so far. In studio with me is Evans Kwadzo Danso, who is Chief Executive of Flosell Farms, also a WorldFish consultant. He's been doing a great job so far this afternoon. And so if you're listening, if you have any questions, we have a lot to cover, actually. Much more to cover. I don't know if he's coming back as for a second week, Sarah. You have to confirm that with me. If you have any questions, you can send to our WhatsApp line 05511111997 055111997. I don't know if we'll have time to pick a phone call, but just take note of the studio line just in case. 0302216541. 0302216541. Just in case you have any questions. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Evans is going to continue. We're going to talk about the market for fish farming here in Ghana, production costing as well. I hope we are able to cover the other things such as the challenges and the risk right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Your favorite on-air business development program, Joy Business Masterclass, is in session, and you can interact with us on Facebook via the Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Business pages. If you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM or at Joy Business GH. Don't forget to hashtag JB Masterclass. You can also call us on 0302 216541 or send your questions and contributions through to the WhatsApp number 0551 111997, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
All right, hope you had some time to get a cup of coffee or water, anything. You are listening to the Masterclass here on Joy 99.7 FM. Hope you are taking notes as well. The Masterclass is brought to you by Gwell, Good Energy Gwell, Now, Gwell PLC, or CIMG Hall of Fame and 2022 Petroleum Company of the Year, has taken the lead again. Gwell has opened ultra-modern liquefied petroleum auto gas service stations. The modern auto gas service is safe, clean, and offers affordable alternative fuel for your vehicle. Look out for the Gwell Auto Gas Station in the following areas: Bemakam Gwell Service Station, Accra; Peshi Gwell Service Station, Accra; Pedu Junction Gwell Service Station, Cape Coast; Pissing Gwell Service Station, Takoradi; Kenton Chrono Gwell Service Station, Kumasi. Gwell, delivering the safest and affordable gas at your convenience. Gwell, Good Energy, by Ketsi. Well, that you have the Masterclass here on Joy 99.7 FM. So we are grateful. And so welcome back to our Masterclass on fish farming. In studio with me, Evans Kojo Danso, who is Chief Executive of Flosell Farms, also a WorldFish consultant. We've just started to learn about what goes into fish farming and issues to do with feed, hatchery growing, and hopefully we'll touch on value addition. We've talked about production management, which includes feeding, stocking, density management, container management, water and environment management, health management, which I thought was pretty interesting to learn about.
You sound like a fish expert.
Don't get them carried away. I'm reading notes, please. You can't see me, but I'm reading notes. Yeah, and so if you have any questions, 0551111997, 0551111997. You can send us a text. We'll answer your question for you. If some wise gracious so I mean, she's our producer. She would get you through the phone line 0302216541. And so let's talk about the market. Some questions I think coming very soon, but let's talk about the market for fish farming. Of course, people want to invest in something they find very lucrative, right? What's the market like in Ghana so far? Maybe you can give us, I see you have a chat. Is it Africa or the world? Worldwide?
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us an idea and then we'll zoom into Ghana.
Aquaculture or fish farming is a very powerful economic tool that can bring rapid job creations, rapid protein production, and also quite some good money if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the market, the TAM, or the total attainable market for aquaculture globally is over 120 billion. And there are some countries that are tapping in very well. China, for example, is producing close to 15 million tons of fish and fish-related products yearly. They are producing from shrimps to tilapia to catfish and so on, and exporting a lot to the US, to other parts. Thailand is doing very well. Vietnam is doing very well. And then we have Nicaragua, we have Mexico as well. And then our own US doing very, very well. Actually, one of the best fish research centers and training schools you will find is in the US. Yes, okay. Yes. I train in Auburn, in Alabama, and then the understanding I got from there is deep. Those guys are very far ahead in fish knowledge creation and development. But then coming to Ghana, Egypt is the biggest or largest producer in Africa, doing close to 1.2 million tons of fish, even though they have a demand of about 2.5 million tons, but they are only able to do close to half of that. And so they've been able to create over 12 million jobs through aquaculture alone. That's why I say it's a very powerful tool for economic development if done right, if embraced appropriately and done correctly. In Vietnam, for example, close to 7.5% of their GDP comes directly from aquaculture. That's something any serious person to look at. Nigeria, for example, have a demand of over 500,000, but actually are only able to produce they have a demand of over 1.2 million tons, but they're producing mostly catfish, about 350,000 to 400,000, followed by Zambia, followed by Uganda, Ghana, and Kenya.
Okay.
Yes, Ghana started very well as following Egypt as one of the fastest developing industries for aquaculture, but we slowed down a lot. In our slowing down, other nations picked up. There's a lot of aggressive development in Uganda, in Kenya, Zambia. Now, matter of fact, the top 3 largest fish farms now are in the Eastern Africa side. So they are contributing a lot, and in total, creating over 1 million job. So here in Ghana, the market specifically, the demand for fish in Ghana, it depends on who you are talking to. The ministry reports figures between 350 to 500 tons. Politicians will report figures 600 to 800, so it depends on who you're talking. And the FAO has their own information as well. But on the average, you can peg it around 450,000 as the demand. But the actual production in Ghana is less than 150,000 tons in total. The actual demand is less than 150,000. So we have a big demand there as well, minimum of 250,000 that we need to produce. So there's a big room for...
Are we able to meet it?
If we do our things right, we can. Do we have the resources to meet it? Yes. We have one of the best lakes in the world for producing fish and the best rivers. Temperatures are very stable. Tilapia, catfish require temperatures between 28 and 29 all year round, and this is about what we have. So we have a big potential to produce this. If you look at the Volta River and Lake, for example, there is close to about, the last time we calculated, about 2.5 to 3 million gallons of water going into the sea every minute. And all of this could be used to create or produce fish to meet this gap, and that has the potential to create more than 10 million jobs. 10
million?
Oh yes, the demand is big. The market size in Ghana is about 940 million. If we are able ever to meet the demand of 470,000 tons on the average, it gives, on today's price, about $940 million. But if we take what we are currently producing as a country now, being 135, we are doing less than $100 million as an industry. So it depends on you as an investor or somebody who has an interest, how much of this cake that you want to bite. So if you are sitting at home listening to us and you want to invest in it, you look at the numbers and then decide what you want to do to contribute to this, and then you start by taking the right training. I've seen people who will do the investment first before going after the knowledge. Meanwhile, it should be the other way around. You don't set up a business first before you go to the business school. But interestingly, we tend to do it the other way around. So first, if you are listening to us and if you have the interest, there are so many ways to learn. Just be careful, because there's a lot of equally bad knowledge out there. Right. That when you get installed in your head, it's a lot of work to uninstall that bad knowledge and replace it with good knowledge that is required for you to produce the good quality fish, first of all, and then taking your bite of this economic cake.
05511119997 is the WhatsApp line. There's a message here that with no name says, how do you know the fish is sick? I think we will find that very interesting. So maybe you want to go through that again?
Yes, there are clinical signs that you will see that depend on the kind of fish. It will be interesting. We even have hole in heart in fish like catfish.
Oh, you don't.
Oh yes. We have yellow liver, yellow kidney. All those things are there. For tilapia, there are all kind of signs that you will see. Sometimes the swimming will not be erratic. So we tell people who study with us, we say first thing you must do if you want to grow fish is to go to the school of the fish by learning the fish first or knowing your fish. Okay, so first you must know your fish. Just like if you will work at the bank, you will be introduced to a couple of fake currency notes and good currency notes. You must have the ability to tell the difference, so you can tell a healthy fish from a non-healthy fish. So you can pick the first sign because you are there before the vet will come. So you must know your fish, and this you will get to do if you go to the school of the fish. Some signs, I can mention some clinical signs. Sometimes the eyes will get bulgy. Sometimes they have erratic swimming. Sometimes they have part of their body entirely being eroded off. Sometimes they also get deformed. They have all kind of parasites, countless parasites that attack them from their brain. There's even one that I know that can even get into the mouth of the fish through the gill.
Wow.
And then get attached to the tank, and wherever portion of the tank it gets attached to, it can bite that portion, keep biting until the tank drops off. So the fish will not have the right length of tongue. Just like if you don't have the right length of tongue, you cannot even swallow, you cannot do so many things, and then the fish loses out and dies. So sometimes the signs are visible for the eyes to see, sometimes they are not. But if you are a good candidate of the fish, if you know your fish very well, and if you approach the growing system with feed to feed them, when you see the behavior, you know that it's sick. We've nursed babies several times in our lives, and you see that even though your child cannot talk, a baby cannot talk to you. When the baby is sick, you can tell, right?
Yeah.
You can see it's not responding to maybe the breast milk or the feeding very well. It's not sleeping well. It's sweating. It's uncomfortable. You will see the same thing from the fish if you open your eyes well enough. It speaks so loud.
Very, very observant.
You've got to be very observant.
This message to me is from Dorcas. She says, how long do I need to be trained to start a fish farm?
If you want to be a grower or if you want to be a breeder, it depends. The duration varies from a month to 4 months. But I can connect to the producer, our training coordinator, our training manager, so that whoever is interested can link up with her. She's called Miss Arinte. And then when you get connected to her, she will find the right program for you to subscribe to.
What does training entail?
Well, okay. When you come to us as Flosell, we have training programs with various organizations that we do. We have one with the American Soybean Association, sponsored by the Department of Agriculture, where we take on graduates from the university who will have done a 4-year or more degree in sciences, aquaculture, fish health, or any other health-related thing, or veterinary school. And then we will put you at the farm for 4 months or 16 weeks, and you get paid to learn. That's one thing. And then there is another one we also do with the WorldFish that we do in about 11 countries. This we do in about 11 countries: Ghana, Zambia, Malawi, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya. I do in all those countries. That's another one. And there's also a short course that we do at the farm that specifically designed for people who are in country and want to learn. You come over to the farm for a period. You sit through the class for about a month or 4 months, depending on what you subscribe to, and then we prepare you to take a bit of your cake.
Wow. We have a few minutes. I want you to touch on cost of production.
All right. So independent of whichever candidate you choose to culture, whether cucumber, seaweed, tilapia, catfish, salmon, the feeding cost is the biggest. Remember, we said from the beginning that the fish is a converter of the feed. So the cost of the feeding will take close to 70% of your production. And then your seed or your fingerlings is the next one. Then labor comes because it's human beings who will operate the system for you. Then the capex and the energy depends on the kind of technology that you choose to work with. Whether you are going to work in a completely automated system, around RAS system, raceway, or pond system, whichever one you choose, that determines the balance between the energy and the capex. So whatever system you choose, note that the feed is going to consume between 60 to 70%. Then the fingerlings could come to 8 to 10%, labor, and the others. And then your margins, if you do it very well, can be between 30 and 45%. But you can also lose it all if you do it badly. Yes. If you refuse to be the school, to attend the school of the fish, or learn from the fish. I mean, to be a student of the fish not necessarily mean going to sit in class to learn, but learning from the fish directly by observing, because you miss more by not looking than by not knowing. Okay, and then what do you call it? You also have to decide how you will market your fish. You know, just like any other business, you start with the marketing in mind. Are you going to smoke your fish? Are you going to make fillet? Are you going to fry? Are you going to make fish cakes? Are you going to make fish fingers? Are you going to make fish sausages?
Value addition.
Yes, fish sausages, fish fingers. We have all of those products, and I think from tomorrow there's a training starting at the farm on fish value addition that any listener can subscribe to. But just to sum it up, it's quite a very big industry, you know.
Right. I'm going to let you drop your number, just for anybody who wants some more information.
Okay.
On fish farming, somebody looking to start one, somebody looking to invest. And I think we are going to have you back next week to continue, because I don't know. It's not possible?
Next week I'll be in Kigali.
It's not possible. Then quickly, in a minute, what are the risks?
But we can find some time, maybe between the 8th and the 11th there, but I'll be back in Ghana.
Just one question in a minute, if you can. The risks, the challenges, and basically.
Just like any other business, there's some level of risk that comes with aquaculture. You need to think about biosecurity, where your inflows are coming from: inflow of your feed, inflow of your fish, and inflow of your fish itself. You need to have a plan to manage the health of your fish in case they fall sick. Make a plan for theft, nutrition of the fish. Sizing of your investment matters. I've seen people who have come to buy 100,000 fingerlings to grow, meanwhile they have money to feed only 1,000 fish.
Okay.
Meanwhile they have money to feed. They have feeding fee for only 1,000 fish, and they have come to buy 100,000. So sizing your investment is very important. If you size it wrongly, it can also be a risk.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So finally, drop for us your number. Anybody seeking?
Can I drop it offline? But maybe you can follow our Facebook. I think the producer will put our Facebook and our website online.
Okay. Evans doesn't want to share his contact just yet. But if you have any more questions or anything you want to find out,
if you go to flossellfarms.com,
a website.
Yeah, www.flossellfarms.com. You can drop a message there. We'll get back to you. On our Facebook page as well, we will always get back to you whichever way. But I can leave my number maybe offline, because I get too many calls. Yes.
His phone was even buzzing during the conversation. I understand. So thank you so much, Evans, for passing through.
Yeah.
I think you need to come back so that we finish this off, because there are so many questions that still need some answering, and I appreciate it. So for anybody who is listening this afternoon, you want to do something lucrative, fish farming. Fish farming is something you can look at as well. And what I'm taking away from this is that it takes so much care, right?
Yes.
It's not just you throwing your money into
it's husbandry.
Sorry?
It's husbandry.
Husbandry, yes. And when you do it right, when you do it well, you're going to reap the benefit.
A lot.
Yeah.
And if you do it wrong, you lose a lot.
You lose a lot. And so, that's it. Thank you so much for passing through the masterclass. Your family was here too, your wife and your daughter.
No, those are my nieces.
Hey! Why did I just assume that was your niece is here? Why did I just assume that was your wife?
I don't
Someone told me
know.
it was family. On this side here, I just give you moral support. And so, thank you so much for passing through the masterclass. And so we're back next week with some more of the masterclass. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for listening. Our call continues with Ignition. Don't go anywhere.